Hello!
Hello.
We are here live today with Sofia Alexander, the creator of Onyx Equinox on Crunchyroll. Onyx Equinox launched very recently, and you'd been working on it for way longer than I've been working on it. So I would love to hear a little bit about us. I know that you're Mexican and you were born in Cancun.
Yeah.
Like, who the heck is from there? Nobody. People
Right?
go vacation there.
I don't know. I mean, it's the same, kind of shocking to me to hear people that are born in Los Angeles or in California, because most people are from other parts of the world. But yeah, I was born in Cancun in Quintana Roo, and my dad was an architect, is an architect, and he used to help remodel some hotels and help build and stuff. So it was kind of the obvious choice for my family to live there. Yeah.
And you grew up there in Quintana Roo. That's like where people go to find themselves and experience paradise.
Yes.
Wow.
I would go to the pyramids all the time, and maybe that's why I did Onyx. Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, Onyx is your baby. But you've always been into animation and writing and creating. So what's been your in a nutshell, so that we kind of get a backstory before we jump into Onyx? Mm-hmm. You have always loved and been good at storyboarding. Like how did it all come about?
Well, I went to college in Georgia. Doesn't matter what college, believe me. And I was studying to do comic books because I'm a huge nerd. I love comics. I don't know if you can see my I can't remember the name of these things. Gabineta. Cabinet? Gabineta. And it has a bunch of Captain America, Spider-Man, and over here, I just love comics. And so I wanted to do comics. I love manga. I love anime. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to go live in Japan and be a mangaka and all that stuff that is totally not what I want to do anymore. And I studied and I graduated, and I'm like, cool, I created this comic, but I did not truly get into animation until after I graduated, and I found what storyboarding was. I did not know while I was in college, and until a friend was like, hey, do you want to help me do this thing? I'm like, what is that wonderful thing? You mean I don't have to finish drawings? Hell yeah. So that's kind of what happened, Yeah, my first job here was Disney Imagineering. I don't know if you know what that is. For those who don't know, Disney Imagineering is a play on words of Disney and engineering. So basically they're in charge of everything that is Disney parks. So all the decorations, the outfits, the rides, everything.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So I was the one who helped do concept illustrations for the refurbished Pirates of the Caribbean. So if you go to the ride and you see the section where it used to be human trafficking. I don't know if you guys remember, the people were being sold, and there's a sexy red pirate. I helped reconceptualize that part, because human trafficking bad, and instead of selling people, it's people selling their goods, and the sexy red lady is now a pirate. I did the concept of her clothes, and it's super fun. It's super weird still.
Yeah.
You go and I'm like, I did that.
That's so cute. Someone's asking about the audition for Xianya, and let's get there too, because I came a little bit later. But so you've had this fascination with pyramids and mythology and Aztec and Maya and history and all that. So it is a stunning work of art, and all of the history that you've put into there is so incredible. So much so that a dear friend who works in high places wanted to talk to you because he couldn't believe all the research you did for that. So tell us how this came about in your brain and your heart.
Well, I mean, growing up in the area in Cancun, there's pyramids everywhere you go. There's archaeological sites, there's museums. And my grandfather, we have indigenous heritage. And for him, it was always like a sense of pride to kind of like teach us about how beautiful Mexico is and was, and kind of like all the knowledge that was lost to us during the Spanish colonization and everything. So like that has always been something very important to my family. So by the time I had to tell a story, I was in college and I missed Mexico. I moved to the US when I was 17, and it's just you know, something was like, I want to reconnect. So I just started writing the story. Initially it was just Isel, Nelly, and Yautl. And then, you know, the story just evolved. By the time I came to LA, I mean, I did not pitch this story immediately. You know, I pitched it back in 2018. So it took me like about 11 years. I had an idea of what I wanted Ziania to sound like.
Wait, hold on. Before we get into Ziania, 11 years.
11.
Fucking 11 years. Like that's we think, you know, when people go, oh my God, how did you audition for Sombra? It's like, well, I auditioned for 10 years prior and Sombra came along on my 10th year. So it's like, it takes us so long to get things out there and make them happen.
You know, I met with Marissa because I have a manager and he has contacts because that's his job. And he was like, you know, if you want to pitch this story, let's go to Frederator, let's go to Netflix, let's go to Crunchyroll, people that would be open to listening to an anime-inspired, violent, more adult animation.
I love when Ziania says bad words. It makes me really happy. Like, I get to say asshole and fucking. It's great. I love her.
The paint.
It's all stunning. Yeah.
It's just, I'm a Mexican creator creating a show about Mexico. Inspired by anime, period. Like
Kitty! Sorry, ADD.
Oh.
I'm like, there's a cat that is beautiful. I just saw something moving and I thought it was in my screen, and then I'm like, no, it's a cat! How long did it take to record all of this? Because I came in maybe a year ago.
Yeah, you came in.
Do you know how I got to you, by the way?
I asked for you.
No, that's funny because Jorge Gutierrez recommended me.
Yeah,
but I wasn't sure how that happened.
I was asking Jorge, and he was like, you know, Carolina. I was like, Carolina Ravassa? Of course. Sombra, yeah, of course. He's like, funny. You know, she's a friend of mine. Do you want to? I was like, hell yeah. So yeah.
Oh, he just threw it at me like, hey, you know, Elation, they're doing this anime-inspired show. And I've been wanting to do anime for a while. And it's just like, it's a weird industry to get into, voice acting for anime, because it's not part of the union. So it's not like our agents just send us a ton of anime auditions. So I just was like, yeah, I'll send an audition. And I remember like sending different styles because I wasn't sure like what the anime sounding, I didn't know what it was. So I was very excited to have booked it, but I didn't know the inner workings of everything else.
She is a young woman who loses everything. I mean, we saw that in the first episode.
Yeah.
So it turns her into a different person. And I wanted to reflect that. And you gave me that range of, I remember telling you, okay, this is still a girl. She's still a girl here. And okay, she's a warrior here. Make sure that, so like we would flip flop between those two because we would go from flashback to present time too.
Yeah.
And like, thank you so much for putting up with me. Because I was like, no, I want it like this. And you're like this. I'm like, no, like that. It's like, literally you just told me that. I'm like, you're right. Let's go through that one. So it was a wonderful process to get to work with you and for you to give one of my babies her voice. Backstory of Ziania is that she used to be in concept. It was a boy initially. Ziania wasn't a girl. And there's a certain trope of how they treat girls in anime that I'm like, yeah, you know, there's a couple that are like different.
And usually they talk up here and they're kind of, you know, like just soft and So I thought,
you know, there's no reason why this character could be, you know, why not a girl? It would not, the story wouldn't change. And that's
and there are so many narratives where it's just like, you know, you have Itzel and Shanastaku, and then that's it. And it's like, why can't it be half and half? Why can't we show more warrior queens and princesses and
Yeah.
badasses. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some questions. One is season 2 in pre-production? And do you think it will ever, is this something that will live on Crunchyroll forever, or could there be a possibility of it going to Netflix or to somewhere else in some
Well, Crunchyroll is part of Warner Brothers as of today.
Wow.
So that could mean maybe I really can't answer this because it's more of like a, you know, Crunchyroll headquarters kind of answer. But if, say, you know, much more in the future, if, you know, it does well and everything, there could be a world where it would live in HBO Max.
Yeah.
But again, this is just me hoping. This is not set in stone. For a season 2, we're not. There's no news of a season 2, but I already have an outline.
Oh, cool.
I have an
so
outline.
Like you're basically waiting to see if you get greenlit and get picked up or something.
Mm-hmm. As in, I'm ready. Like if they tell me, do you have an idea? I'll be like, here. Zell, Nelly, and Yaudel represent a very difficult time of my life, and also a very fun time of my life. This story was born out of a lot of, I don't want to sound like edgy or anything, but like pain and struggle and emotional and mental, you know, just difficulties. Yeah. And Nelly telling Isel to be brave and kind of being the heart, Isel's heart, and him losing her and him just going into like deep, you know, grief and depression and PTSD, like the poor boy. Like, I don't want to go into details because there's probably people who haven't seen it here. I don't know if you want to, but in case you do, he has a lot of trauma. Yeah. So I wanted to, it's like almost going back in time and telling Isel to be brave by telling myself to be brave. Because these characters were kind of like my diary. I would just dump all these negative emotions onto. And I wanted to see Isel push forward and triumph, because we've all been in that pit where we think, I can't get up, I can't get out of this. And there's nothing and there's no one who wants me around. I feel lonely, I feel forgotten. Yeah. And I wanted to see someone like that be the hero of the story. So for me to tell Isel to be brave is kind of like telling myself in the past to be brave, and also kind of saying goodbye to my characters. Wow. Because they used to be mine for over a decade, and now they're yours. Yeah. And now you get to watch and you get to decide who they are, what it means when someone says something. You know, it's up to you now. One of the first questions I get asked when I was pitching on it was like, well, why a boy character, not a girl character? Don't you as a woman want to see more female leads? And I said, yeah. But I also think it's just as important to have characters that are male, that are gentle-hearted and, you know, open at heart and able to cry and express themselves and still be strong. Yeah. You don't have to be the lone wolf who's like, oh, you know, my parents died and now I can't even cope. I can't afford myself a psychiatrist, Batman, so I'm going to beat the crap out of people. So it's like, that's cool, whatever, but we have so much of that already. I wanted to see something else. I wanted to see the Gohan in Dragon Ball Z, because he was sweet and kind and super strong, and he was a hero, and I wanted that. And also because I grew up with 2 brothers. I'm the only girl. My brothers, they changed so drastically from being a boy to teens to men. And I saw that gentleness being smothered by society. And I would sit down with them sometimes and be like, well, why is it so wrong that you think you should feel if you feel this way? Yeah. It's okay for you to feel things. And they were like, no, you don't understand. It's a man thing. I'm like, but it's a human thing. Like, can't you explain to me? And like, they would talk to me and they opened up to me a lot. Like, we're really close. Yeah. And it hurt me so much seeing them change because they thought they had to, or else their masculinity would be, you know, questioned. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. This was such a blast. Thank you guys for all your interesting questions and for your support so far for Onyx. it means a lot to me, and I'm sure to Carolina, because she is one of our stars, and I can't wait for you guys to meet Ziania.
She's
Ziania
cool.
is awesome.
She's
cool.
Awesome. And we would love to see you voicing a character on a video game. That has been one of the comments. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will be here on Thursday, same time, same place. And keep booming and booping, guys.